So my first Prisma bubble that I upgraded personally was Larry, because what happens is Larry not only increases the chance it'll upgrade 2 times, but because it's over 100%, it starts becoming more than that. So I have the chance, after having doubled it, at this point over 200%, I now have the chance to get a +4. So watch this. See how I'm getting +4s, +3s, and +4s rather than a +1 or +2? Or honestly, I was at the point where I was getting like +2/+3, but this takes me to +3/+4. So those are extra bubbles, extra upgrades to bubbles that you're basically getting per day from Boron here, from the particle upgrades, by upgrading Larry, and that makes it literally the best bubble that I've seen in terms of being the consensus, basically best bubble to use the Prisma feature on first and double. I saw there was a post on Reddit where somebody had obviously done Diamond Chef. The problem with Diamond Chef is this. Diamond Chef is really good for cooking. If you Prisma this, it absolutely will help you to max your meals faster, but there's just a lot of other bonuses that go into cooking. That's what you have to understand. There's a lot of other ways to increase cooking. You can increase it from the whole. There's bonuses in there. I think it's from Justice that gives bonus to cooking. There's a max meal level. So once you reach the maximum meal level, then you're not getting any more value out of doubling Diamond Chef until Lava adds more meal levels, which he may or may not do. So at the point he does do that, Diamond Chef could be a good bubble to double to Prisma, but you could just do it when he adds those. You know what I mean? Because there's almost certainly going to be more opportunities to get more of these type of bubbles in the future, probably. Here's another thing. Fluoride, for example. Fluoride gives big bonuses. Bone Marrow from the V-Man gives big bonuses. And here's the other thing, is that Fluoride, now with the Windwalker, we have extra atom levels, which means there's extra fluoride levels that you can get, which are a huge bonus for cooking. So that's a really big bonus of cooking speed that doesn't require doubling Diamond Chef. Diamond Chef is good to have leveled up, but when we only have limited resources to double the effects of bubbles here, Diamond Chef just isn't really at the top of the list in terms of, because obviously you hit the max meal cap and that's it. Gold Food Effect is always good. Now, I don't totally understand how Shimmeron mixes with other bonuses, for example, like the Yumi gummy ring thing in meals, because obviously that's a much bigger number, but it depends if this is like adding with it or multiplying with it. You know, those things go into effect. So maybe once we get a lot more upgrade resources, then you could consider doing these individually, and sure, they'd probably give some bonus that would be good. But for the moment, with limited resources, a lot of people were suggesting the bubbles that have multipliers. For example, like these ones here, like, where is it? This one here, like, you know, like Multi-Orange, Perma-Green, and Severa Purple. These are multipliers. And if we go all the way back down to the bottom, you have Warrior's Rule, Archer or Bust, and Mage's Best. Those are also multipliers that affect multiple bubbles. So because they affect multiple bubbles and are a multiplier, you're getting good bang for the buck by doubling those, especially with limited resources compared to like doubling Hardy Diggy, which is a good bubble, but the reality is it's just not having as much effect as probably Warrior's Rule, since that's affecting more bubbles. And as far as others, I mean, you can't double any of the large bubbles. Probably should have said that immediately in case you didn't realize. You can't double any of the large bubbles, which kind of makes sense because these ones just mostly scale like linearly, like just forever. So those would just get kind of insane if you could double them. That's why initially my first reaction was, I was like, somebody's breaking something here. If you can double like these, it's going to seriously break something. This is kind of an interesting one, the AFK EXP. I assume that's just, I don't know. It's kind of interesting because you could be at 70% chance for double EXP. It was Stealth Chapter. I'd seen someone suggesting Stealth Chapter, and I think that's an intriguing one. I don't have it upgraded very far. I'd like to do it more. I just need to focus farming a little bit more, and I should have that one better. It depends how much that actually is going to affect sneaking. So probably I'll get a bunch of that resource and upgrade that and just kind of see how it actually affects it. And then based off of that, maybe make a decision on whether or not that would be on my wish list. I think I'd pass on Card Champ. I will say this, there are some people out there who are going to Prisma some weird bubbles. I know there were some people on Reddit who were already Prismaing like the base stat bubbles and had huge base stat bubbles and were just multiplying them. Here's another good one, Starchu EXP. I'd mentioned this in a different video that I should have done this potentially before depositing some statues. Would definitely do this if you're thinking about depositing statues, but I would do Larry first, and then I would consider Starchu EXP, especially if you have a lot of statues saved up, like a lot of statues. I don't even know how level up gift works. It's already at 90%, so do you just get more things? I kind of feel like these would just still end up at like 1 billion resources. I find it hard to believe they would go below that. The daily drip could be interesting, although I feel like there's other ways to do this for the moment. You can even exalt a stamp if you need more of this, plus you can put ribbons on the max liquid caps as well. I have no idea how all for kill affects, like how that would affect it if it was doubled. I'm not sure about Brustachio, but it does say it's a multiplicative bonus, which, you know, is pretty good. I do think these can have a big effect on cash, because I catch 'em all could be interesting. A multiplier to catching shiny critters when opening a trap. Don't know how that factors in exactly, but that could be one to watch for the future. Probably not a first priority, but it could be something to watch for the future. Anything that's a multiplier you might want to watch. I didn't talk about any of the damage bubbles, mostly because a lot of them are not like... Except for like Emperor, most of them are not... You don't really need damage for a lot of stuff. So it depends how like hard you're trying to push Emperor. If you're really wanting to push Emperor hard, maybe in the future you consider upgrading, like Prismaing some damage bubbles. But for the moment, I definitely don't think they're at the top of the list. Here's another good one, Carpenter. Definitely a good one to consider. This one's probably in the top tier of ones you would consider Prismaing, just because Carpenter's a good bubble. I haven't upgraded it nearly enough. I should probably do it more. Somebody's going to be doubling FMJ and then claiming they have like the world's highest defense stat. I'm sure somebody will. So there you go. There are my thoughts on basically all the bubbles at the moment. I would say they're kind of like 3 tiers. Like, there's stuff I would do immediately. There's stuff that it's like, if you have resources later, do it. And then there's stuff that's like, only if we get, enough to max the whole thing. However, no matter what you're doing, I would probably start with Larry, at least at the time of this update. I would start with Larry. Larry's kind of the starting point, and then from there, there's a good number of solid options. Oh yeah, sorry. The multipliers down here, Warrior's Rule, Archer's Bust, and Mage's Best are solid ones to go for after that. After Larry, and if you're just getting to this point and you're trying to figure out what to consider, there is a lot of bubbles to consider, and these are some very powerful bonuses that you now have access to. So, but like we said, definitely start with Larry. You want to maximize those boron particle upgrades and maximize the levels you can get out of those. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.